it's so far so good, and it's the best grad job I'll ever have. You know, that's the thing is, you know, you start your own business out of university, you're exposed to so much more that it'll be fast, it'll be learning, it'll be really exciting, it'll be really joyful, it'll be really depressing, it'll be whoa, at moments the grass is greener one day, the grass is great now the next day. It's a roller coaster, and it's something that I would encourage everyone to just jump straight into.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Student Enterprise TV. This very special episode where I am interviewing a very cool guest. Student Enterprise TV is your weekly source of inspiration, practical tips and nonsense to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. I'm your host, my name is Callum with a K, and today I'm joined by Euan from H.I.T, which is Head Impact Trauma. So Euan, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I mean, what a day, another day in the study at home. Great. No, I'm good, I'm really good. It's nice to finally talk with you again and see you're doing well. And yeah, no, I'm good, I'm really good.
Thank you. And of course, we know each other from the Edinburgh Business School Incubator, which is based at Heriot-Watt University. Although you're not there right now, although you do have a very impressive book collection behind you. We're just saying how many books I can spot.
All of which I have not written. Written.
Wow, that would be impressive.
But not written, read.
Not only have I read them all, I also wrote them all. No big deal.
Yeah.
No, so great. So thank you for joining us. Tell us about you. So where did you study? What did you study? And all that good stuff, please.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, from the beginning, since I left school, or just
since you were
how I
born?
got here? Since I was born.
No,
Yeah.
just recent history, if you will.
Yeah, recent history. Here we go. So, well, I studied at Edinburgh Napier University, and I did product design. And how I ended up, you know, starting with H.I.T was it was my major project at university. It was we have to come up with our own brief, our own product where there's an issue in the market. And create a solution. So that's where H.I.T kind of stemmed from. And I was very fortunate. I have a keen interest in rugby. I play myself, and concussion is one of the biggest debates in contact sports in general. So for my major project, I was like, oh, I'm interested in this. I'll do this project, which was basically a sensor that would, you know, measure a G-force impact and let everyone know that you've potentially been concussed. Or amazing. And I was like, oh, this is cool, this is great. And then, you know, did my project, was fortunate to, obviously the university picked up on it because it was such a hot topic at the time with concussion in sports, that the Scotsman picked it up, very fortunately. So the Scotsman wrote a couple of articles, Edinburgh Evening Express, it was all the same article as they do, and they just twist a couple of words. Yeah, so that's how it all went. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do now? And I was like, well, grad job, I'll go and get a grad job, and applied for a bunch of things, and ended up getting a grad job down in Cardiff, believe it or not, where I was going to go and design aircraft interiors. And I was like, oh, this is super cool. I was like, this sounds great. And I was like, Wales, oh, well, I have some relatives in Wales. But yeah, at the same time, this was during the summer, you know, before this grad job started, and the articles were released during the summer, just before graduation. And I was working at a golf club down in East Lothian, and you know, as a concierge, standing at the front door in my tartan trousers, and you just chat to people all the day, members that are constantly coming in 2 or 3 times a week. And one of the members was luckily obviously come in from his round of golf, had his coffee and read the paper, and then hold on, and then came out the front door, popped his head out, and was like, so I'm very fortunate. He recognized me and he's like, what do you want to do with it? And I was like, well, nothing, I've got a grad job that I was going to go and do. And he was like, well, I think that's a great idea, let's meet for a coffee and chat about, you know, what we can do with this and move forward as a business. And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, well, this is really exciting. You know, I felt like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
A little bit of spotlight, but I was like, what do I do? So met him for a coffee. He's like, well, I think we should take this forward as a business. And he was obviously my first investor, and came out as, so I call him, you know, you say an investor, he's a partner. He was the it was my idea and I wasn't going to do anything with it. I was going to do a grad job, and he's come on board to help me push this through as a business. And yeah, so I spoke to my parents, I spoke to my girlfriend's parents, I spoke to everyone I knew. I was like, what should I do? Because I was going on holiday as well. I had a month and a half until I started this new job. Me and the girlfriend were going on holiday for the end of the summer. We'd saved up, gone away. And I was like, what should I do? I've got two options. Do I go ahead with H.I.T, try and make this a thing? Or do I just take my grad job? Luckily I hadn't officially signed the contract. I don't want to air this because they might watch it and be like, oh, I hate him, he's an ass. But yeah, no, that's so I went away on holiday, and then halfway through my holiday in Mexico, I sent the emails like, right, actually, I'm going to do this. I'll go for H.I.T and try it for a year, 12 months and see what happens, because the other option was to do my grad job and do this on the side. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm not experienced enough to be juggling two jobs. I'll be learning so much as it was. So I actually just took an even bigger step and was like, let's go all in, I didn't have to commute down, I didn't have to go down to Cardiff either. So I was very fortunate. But yeah, so there's that. H.I.T kind of all of a sudden it started up, and that was October 2018. January, I moved into the EVS Incubator out at Heriot-Watt, where I met your fine self. Lucky me. and yeah, since then it's all history. So from there we've been developing H.I.T, which is a sensor which will monitor impacts throughout the game. So initially playing rugby, it's going to be a rugby product, or that's what we thought until COVID threw a curveball. So we did the head guards, we did another sort of headband where this device would fit, such as about the size of a 50p coin. And what it does, it's just constantly on, Bluetooth, connects to your phone. It's monitoring impacts all the time, similar to your sleep graph. If you've ever used a sleep tracker where it's like deep sleep, no light sleep, oh well, you're light sleep, you need to, whatever. Oh, you don't have to worry about that, this and that. So we're trying to make it really accessible to everyone. So it's for grassroots, it's for kids, and well, unless you're an adult and you want to use it as well, which is absolutely fine. That's what it's there for. And then if you get a threat, we've tried to come up with a threshold, which is based on all the medical journals that we've read, and there's trying to take an average, and that'll adapt as time goes on as we get more and more data to collaborate with. So once you hit that threshold, it starts flashing and you get notification on your phone that you've suffered this impact to your head, which is always goes unseen. Your brain injuries, I'll shake it off, I'm okay. Well, no, here's a number, here's a figure now that you can have and you can act upon. So yeah, we're not saying you have to be removed and be checked out, because we cannot say if you're concussed or not, but we are giving you a tool to remove or assess yourself, or a medical professional to assess yourself and tell you if you maybe need further medical advice or if you're okay. Simply put. So we're trying to monitor all these impacts, and yep, and here comes the COVID. What was happening? Well, March this year, COVID came around, unfortunately, and I hope everyone's fine, and I'm doing well, and I've been very fortunate in that respect. And yeah, so COVID came around, and we were meant to be doing our in-game testing, and boom, everything stops. No rugby, no football, no sports. You're refined to your homes and you can go out once a day. So we're like, well, what does that look like for a startup that's just we were hoping we were only a couple of months away from revenue and release. So and that was a critical stage for us. We were about to go testing. So we analysed the market again, and we looked at our forecasts. So we were quite good in that we planned for the future and what other markets we could go into. And one of the ones we looked into was recreational kids helmets. So skating, scootering, anything you might, bikes, cycling. So what we've done is it's a sister brand called PlaySafe that we've brought forward, and this is going to be ultimately our first release. So we're going to have a helmet, hopefully, just in time for Christmas. Little plug right there.
Yeah, please do.
So yeah, just in time for Christmas, and it will work with our device that we've developed, and yeah, and that'll come out in hopefully on our platform online at hitrecognition.co.uk, or hope maybe even with a retailer like Halfords or John Lewis. We'll wait and see. So that's kind of where we've gone to now, and that's 2 years later since that since that is this year in the paper. So, you know, it's kind of all exciting. And that's my long-winded response for the whole thing. So I'm sure you can edit it out.
Well, you've literally covered all my questions now, so we'll just end the interview.
Oh, my apologies.
No, I'm kidding. No, it's nothing to apologize for. This is good. I want comprehensive answers, but I do want to pick up on something you said about an hour ago. No, I'm kidding. When you said about when you were on holiday, I think you said you were in Mexico,
Yeah.
and you were just debating whether you do HIT or take the job. Was there a moment that you made the decision to go for HIT, or was it a series of, when did you decide 100% you're going to go all in on HIT?
Do you know what? I don't think I ever did. I think it was more, I don't think you ever can be 100% certain. I mean, you know, HIT excites me. It's my passion. It's something that, you know, designers or anyone that comes up with an idea, but like, oh, this would be a great business plan. Oh, this would be amazing. Imagine if I could do this. Or, hey, look, I could create t-shirts. I could do this. You know, it was something that excited me. It was something that I was passionate about, and I was like, well, actually, I'm getting given an opportunity here to move forward with this. And yes, for me, the debate was, I was still excited about the grad job I had. I was like, well, this is really, you know, I was lucky enough to get a job straight out of university, or an offer anyway. And do you know what? There's still times I'm like, did I make the right decision? Because we're still in that development, and I think, and I feel guilty for it. I don't think you should ever feel guilty for having these days or these little snippets. Being like, did I make the right? Of course, I think I made the right decision. You know, I don't know. It's like I spoke to my parents, and as I was saying, and my mum was like, well, you know, whatever you want to do, you should do. And I was like, oh, thanks, mum. Like, big hug, here we go. And I asked my dad, and luckily enough, my dad did product design as well when he was at school. Not a family business, don't worry. It's a happy coincidence. And I asked him, I said, well, what would you do? And he was like, well, I had the same issue, but he's not as big a scale as you. I didn't get offered this investment, stuff like that. But I had the product. I maybe should have taken it forward, but I took a job in teaching, which he loves. He's great. He's passionate about. And but he's like, if it was me, I would just take the job. But then that's me. Maybe what would you want to do? And then you speak to people, and you know, I think it was generally about 50-50 or 60-40 towards taking a grad job. And you know, but everyone was like, but you know, it's still really exciting. You could start your own business. So I was never 100% sure. Went on holiday to Mexico, lay by the pool, ate some high calorie food, and got sunburned, and felt pretty relaxed. But then in the back of my head, there was always this little niggle, and I'd maybe take 5 minutes in the day, just think about it. And eventually I was like, well, what have I got to lose? You know, I'm out of university. Hopefully there's always jobs out there that you can go on, but there's not always opportunities like this that you can take. So I took the leap, and once I took the leap, as soon as I said, yep, let's do it, I'm like, did I do the right decision? Oh, should I? What have I done? Like, what have I done? And no, but it's so far so good, and it's the best grad job I'll ever have. You know, that's the thing, is, you know, you start your own business out of university, you're exposed to so much more that it'll be fast, it'll be learning, it'll be really exciting, it'll be really joyful, it'll be really depressing, it'll be whoa, at moments the grass is greener one day, the grass is great now the next day. It's a roller coaster, and it's something that I would encourage everyone to just jump straight into. You're never going to be 100% sure in the decision you make. You just kind of have to do it and go with it. You know, it's a decision you make, and you live with it. You've taken everything into account. Did I make the right decision? Well, I made the decision. That's the right thing. And then from there, you go forward. You know, everything you've learned up until now through university, your peers, your friends, your family, you know, you'll make a decision for a number of reasons, and you're never going to be 100% sure. I mean, unless you had a winning lottery ticket and you're like, should I cash it in? Should I not? Well, yeah, here we go. I'll cash it in. That's 100%. But nothing else is given. So, nope, never 100% sure. But 2 years down the line, we're still rocking and rolling. So,
I'm glad to hear that. And it's funny, your response is very similar to other students and graduates we've worked with over the years. I think everyone is, not that I'm saying that you are, but everyone's winging it to an extent. And also,
Mm-hmm.
every business owner has an element of self-doubt, and they do question things every now and again. They'd be lying if they said they didn't think about packing it in, getting a real job, whatever that means, or going traveling. So I think we all do that. And then equally, on the other side, not that it's them against us, but people that are employed, they're always thinking, should I start my own business? So I think I think it's important to always question where you are and challenge it. That's how we make progress. If you just accept things, you never grow as a person. So I think it's really about, I think it's quite healthy to have that kind of constant reviews, how I would phrase it, rather than self-doubt.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you in that.
Thank you. You have answered a lot of questions, which is fantastic, because we're just ripping through them, which is awesome. And so let's just back onto the few questions I do have. Euan, do you come from an entrepreneurial family? I think you just answered it, but just for absolute clarity, you said your dad's in education. Does anyone else in your kind of immediate family, and I'll include friends as well, does anyone else, when you launched your business, did they have one at the time?
Not that I was 100% aware of, or nobody that it influenced my decision in a way. It was, my immediate family all have, good steady jobs. My dad's a teacher. My mum's also a teacher, but an artist as well. So there's that little bit of independence with her work, which is, but at the same time, like, my mum is a worrier, and that's come down through me. So her and I are fairly similar in that we question our decisions constantly, which is good to do. You're always questioning yourself. But no, and then my dad's side are teachers, believe it or not, and my mum's sides were engineers and stuff. So there's a lot of there's no businesses really or friends immediately that started their own businesses, because we're all quite, well, young. Not that you cannot be a young entrepreneur, but we all, so it was kind of, this was new to me entirely. And I didn't have a business background, so there was no like, oh, we can make this much money, this is how much we go in, this is the route to market and stuff. It's like, hey, I've got an idea, here's a concept, I can create a concept. Then there's the debate, can you start a business with it? I think so, yeah. And they've got the idea, that's the main thing, isn't it? And well, there's more to it than that. So then there's that. But no, in terms of the entrepreneurial background, like, I'd like to think we're all creative thinkers. I was never 100% sure. It was like, well, it was one or the other, and I was like, well, I'm going to go for the one which is not going to come around again. And that's kind of where I jumped into it. And I suppose for me, with product design, like, they're constantly, when I was learning, they're challenging you to new ideas and new concepts, and where you come up with that. It's about ideally you'd go and work for a firm or a brand, and you'd create products for them that they would market. But now I had the opportunity to jump in and be that brand that has a product that can then take it forward. So it's maybe it's because everyone is the traditional way of going and you get a job, and maybe it was forced me to want to rebel a little bit and and be like, yeah, sweet, we're going for it.
I like it, and I can relate to that. And that is such an important point. And again, a common theme with many of the student and graduate business owners we also work with is having an entrepreneurial family is not not a precursor to starting your own business. You can do it without it, as Euan and many others have proven. So thank you so much for that, Euan. Dramatic pause as I look at the questions. The smooth transition. Callum will make sure we also cut that bit. Euan, pretending that the pandemic and COVID is not a thing, before all of that, what has been the biggest challenge developing head impact trauma?
Well, for me, I mean, for me personally, it was the business aspect of it. I mean, I didn't do it at high school. I didn't do it at university. I liked sport and I liked art. like growing up. So they were the two things, and where does business fit into those two? It's off to the side somewhere. So the biggest challenge for me really was, right, we need a business plan. We need all of this. We need Google it. That's what I did. I Googled how to write a business plan, and then you send a draft off, and there was that. There's also the IP side of things, so there's a legal side of things. So you're trying to understand legal jargon, and I think there's just a lot of not just fast self-learning. It's like rapid learning. You have to learn. Right, we need this, or we're thinking we need to do IP, especially for. It was good though, because for me personally, we hired an investor straight away, so they're saying what I need, and they're sort of guiding me in what I need to set the business up. So very fortunate in that respect. But at the same time, you need this, right? Google, boom, boom, boom. Here we are. Write it, send first draft. Here you go. And then there's also the thing is, I'm a student. I have no cash. Can I get a salary from this? Yeah, well, the investment will cover a salary, but then how much is too much and how much is too little? Like, what's my worth to this? And I was like, well, you're worth what you, that's kind of, it's all weird. There's this weird debate for me is like, what's going to create longevity and help the business get there with the cash that all of a sudden you've come out of university and you've got a little influx of cash in your business that's going to help set you up as a little startup. What can you donate to the business? Well, not donate, you allocate to the business. What is your worth to allocate to yourself at the start? There's a lot of these debates and decisions along the way that I never thought I'd ever have to make. But the biggest challenge is definitely it's the red tape. It's the IP. It's to be fair, it's relatively easy to set up a business on Companies House and say, hey, look, I'm a business owner, but get people to actually validate your business as well. That's a big thing. And also get yourself a network of people as well, because you don't want it just to be you individually. You want to, for me, like the business school was great, getting in there in the incubator, because there's like-minded people all doing the same thing, and they all want to make decisions and have like bounce ideas off people, and that's great. But then there's also the network of people of it'll be very hard to grow a business on your own. Get people to know about it. Yes, there's like you can do Instagram, you can do Facebook and social media, but that'll only take you so far. People will lose interest after a while if there's not a call to action, so to speak. Like, here's my product. 2 years down the line is like, you were telling us about this amazing product. Where is it? So it's about trying to get this business on people's minds and let them think about that. And to be fair, biggest challenge, juggling everything. Now I'm just talking about all these different hats you have to wear. There will come a day, hopefully, that there will be a team working at H.I.T that all can focus on different aspects. And right, we need to do this. Okay, Steve can do that. Oh, we need to do that. Oh, Stephanie can do that. Or I don't know, that's their area of expertise. At the moment, you're good at a lot of different things, but you're not an expert at loads of different things or any one thing. So, there's so many challenges. What's the biggest one? The biggest challenge is probably getting that business up and running to a point where, right, this is our plan. This is where we're going. This is what we have to do tomorrow. This is what we have to do next week. This is what the cash we need to do that. Before we do that, we need to have the IP in place. And there's lots to do, but rapid learning. You learn rapidly, and eventually you start taking it on the chin and right, plan. It always helped me, even though I'm not a planner by heart. It's another thing to learn. Don't know if that answers your question. I've just gone.
No, super comprehensive. And like, it's funny, a few people that we've now done these interviews with, when I say what's the biggest challenge, they usually say one, but there's always very quickly 2 or 3 bolted on, because as you've said and everyone else says, it is so tough running a business, especially when it's just you and you have to do everything yourself. That's the biggest challenge. And I also love that your first 2 employees are going to be called Steve and Stephanie. That's so well planned. Like, that just fits to me.
So many Steves and Stephanies out there.
Yeah, if you're listening, if you're watching. It was Euan's fault. Euan kept speaking at me. I had to cut him off. We got into a fight, a virtual fight, and I lost because Euan plays rugby. So
Try.
yeah, I try and interview. We all try things. Euan, who is H.I.T's target audience, please?
H.I.T's target audience we've had this debate over time, but our target audience, we're like, well, the end user we aim is to be kids, but the target audience are the parents. When I was at school, I didn't buy my rugby boots. Well, luckily up until a certain point. I didn't buy, when I was in P7, I got given a head guard by my mum. She bought it. I didn't want to wear it, but it's the parents that are influencing your what you wear for sport, and it's if they don't feel comfortable letting you play a sport or picking up a new activity, that you'll be guided away from it in a way. So our target audience are the parents, and that comes through from the schools and the parents, and then obviously the end user would be the kids, simply put.
Just like a lot of businesses, then the person who pays is not always the user, which is always an important one to distinguish. It strikes me, though, that in a supermarket, to use a very bad example that I'm just winging here, kids have like pasta power. They want the chocolate bar, they want the crisps, so they'll kind of cry and do a show and dance for the parents to buy it. You maybe have the opposite challenge here, that it's almost like, I can't imagine, this is me speaking out loud, but the kid wanting your product, even though it's very good, clearly it's going to be really safe for them, but it's not like maybe a cool thing to do. So in your marketing, are you trying to address that with the kids, like, oh, it's cool to wear headgear, and also like concussions are not cool? Or are you targeting more the parents, or are you doing a bit of both? I'm just interested from a marketing point of view.
I mean, we're kind of, so for us, the safety aspect, so use PlaySafe as an example, which is going to be our first product.
Yes.
It's the safety aspect of that product is we are, as a helmet, without the device, you have the device which you pop in, you use, which is a really cool, I mean, as a parent, as you're talking about, oh, that's really cool, that's monitoring, that's safe, oh, I can see if I need to take, Charlie to hospital, or there you go, another name. But then for the helmet as well, it's like we're trying to improve the product that's already out there, make it adjustable, make this helmet grow with your child as they grow up. You don't have to keep buying it. But then there's also the design and the marketing, equivalently it's the drawing on it. It's how it looks. It's a kid knows they're gonna, the parents gonna be like, you need to wear your helmet today, or you need to wear your helmet before remember your helmet. So they know they'll be drilled into them, need a helmet, but they want to have a helmet that they think is cool in a way. So it's the safety aspect is going to have to appeal to the parents, and then the product itself is going to have to be cool for that age range. So for our PlaySafe helmet, we've used focus groups and spoken to parents, like, right, what's on the market just now? What's your preference? Like, how much would you be willing to pay for something that has more, that has the tech involved? And we've taken that all into account, and then we've sent them mocked up designs of what do you like, all of which we think, this is the thing, we send them maybe a dozen designs that we think will appeal to kids, and we'll maybe get 3 back that were like, oh, we like these, the rest are trash. We're like, okay, cool, no problem at all. We like that. That's good feedback. That's great. We can swipe that to the side, but it'll be taking the average. And for that, our marketing, there's a fine line between being like, this is safe, this is a PPE object, wear this vest to be seen in the dark. Yes, the parents will be like, oh, great, that's fun. But then if it's not a fun product, then it doesn't feel like it's a kid's product, which it is. So it has to be, I could be totally wrong with this. So anyone, any viewers that are looking, get in contact and be like, Euan, you're totally off with that. But, it has to be a fun product. It has to look appealing. If it's just a black, like an all black or all white helmet, why would you buy that over something else that's on the market that looks fun and exciting? And yes, there might be safety features with it, but at the end of the day, you have to make your kid wear it, and the kid has to enjoy wearing it, because if they go off on their own, what's to stop them just taking it off themselves? So if they enjoy it, they like the product. It's similar to, let me see, when I was younger, what rugby boots you want to wear, or what football boots, or what swimming trunks or goggles you want. You want the ones that you think is cool. And if that is a cool product that also appeals to the parent as a safety feature, then you've got a product that people want. So your buyers and your users. So I hope that answers your question.
It certainly does. Thank you. Very, very comprehensive again. That was useful. Thanks, Euan. Okay, changing gears then. How much do you feel that university prepared you for running your own business?
I mean, university in a way is, there's little aspects, little nuggets you can take from seminars, from lectures, from practical subjects. For me, it was very much, where's the issue? Where's your idea? Here you are, here's the concept. In terms of taking it forward as a business, I mean, I really enjoyed my course at university, and I thought Edinburgh Napier did a great job in terms of focusing me on a career that I wanted to do. But in terms of how to do business, I mean, I would say I knew about it, probably the same about as any normal person, but at the same time, it was, for me, it was the process of an idea to take it to concept, prototype, as a product design. In terms of a business, we maybe touched on a few little things, but I wouldn't say I could, if you asked me at the end of uni, without any job offers, without being offered the opportunity to run with H.I.T, hey, do you want to take this what's your first step in making this a business? No idea, I would say. I mean, you can go away and find it out. Maybe I didn't listen. I don't know. Maybe I didn't listen in university. So there'll be other people that might have, I know there was one other girl in my university class, graduation, that went on to do take her product to an incubator as well in Stirling. So she, that's 2 out of a class of 25 that ended up going and doing their own business. That's of what I know about. So sorry if I've missed anyone out. So I mean, you could say that in that aspect they prepared us well. That's not a bad conversion rate of people that have gone on to take up their final project as a business. But in terms of, did I know what to do as the next steps, I don't think you'll ever know. Whether or not, for me, it depends on your subject. If you're to do a business related subject, this is me just thinking from the outside, so don't hate me. I would assume you'd know what to do. For everyone else, it's the idea. The idea of what to do as a business, but the actual reality of it is very different to what I imagined.
Good. No, that's fair. That's something we hear quite a lot. So thank you for echoing that.
The incubator and everything is a great place to be, because that is somewhere that is within the university, but out with your degree. So I think definitely going to speak to your university entrepreneur team if you even have an inkling that you might want to do it, which I didn't do because I didn't think I was going to take H.I.T forward.
And if your university or college doesn't have one, come speak to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I break my elbow on the TV there. That was good. Nice, thank you. Euan, last question. For the millions and millions of students and graduates watching this right now, watching Student Enterprise TV, and they're just thinking about starting a business, what is your advice for them?
Believe in it. Believe in yourself. If you think you have a good idea or a good product, what have you got to lose? As I always had this debate when I came out, is, jobs will always come around, even if you don't think they're right. They're there. There'll always be jobs out there. I know, especially now with COVID, especially with the graduates that are coming out now with COVID, you'll be seeing that, all the unemployment, people you're losing, but jobs will always come back around, and the opportunity to start your own business and create jobs and create something you're passionate about doesn't come around very often. I would say if you have an opportunity, and even if you're not 100% sure and you're only like 60% sure, just jump at it. It's the best experience you will ever have, like graduate experience. You'll learn so much more than you might in any normal grad job. But at the same time, it's okay if you decide you want to go and do a grad job, or you want to go and get a job working for something else. It's whatever works for you and whatever you enjoy and whatever you feel passionate about. And never doubt your decision. You will. I do. Callum, you probably do. You doubt decisions you've made, but at the same time, Callum's like, no, not at
all. All the time. Should I wear a zebra shirt? Should I not? Should I grow a beard? Should I be clean shaven? You know, is this background annoying or not? Is it too busy?
Gracious.
Really... Thank you.
Yeah. So so at the same thing, just go with what you decide and don't look back. And if you keep looking back, it'll eat you, it'll eat away at you, and it'll stop you from moving forward. I feel like that was almost...
that's good. Yeah, get that printed in a poster.
I know, I should feel like that's a very philosophical. So
is that your next book?
But don't let negative, don't let things that don't work out ruin your day as well. Worry about it for 5 minutes, but then move on. It's nothing you can change. It's like, I don't know why, I was very, very young when I realized you come out of an exam worrying how you've done. But then I must have been 60 when I was like, well, I've ruined it. I was about to beep. As you come out and be like, well, it's done. I can't change it now, and that's what you've done. Same with all your decisions. You've made your decision, and just roll with it. So don't be scared to try something.
Nice. Thank you. That's a very positive note to end on, Euan. Thank you very much again for your time, for your insights, for sharing the amazing story of head impact trauma, of hitting yourself. And just, I think you've made this, at the risk of annoying all of our other guests, you've made it the easiest interview, because I think I asked you one question and you just spoke for an hour.
To all your guests.
Especially when they're on right now. Yeah, I mean, no, seriously, you've made it. I asked one question, you just got to ramble. It's very helpful for us, so we've just cut all that down. But no, seriously, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And one thing I've been resisting the urge to say for the whole interview, but I have to say it now, we've got to the end. You're a product designer, and for the whole interview, you've had the squeakiest chair of all time. Go and sort it.
I know, I apologise. I think this is the lack of exercise from COVID. It's just ruined the springs. But I should oil it up for sure.
It's funny. It's funny. But no, it's made it a very unique interview. So I guess the very, very last question is, where can we find out more about head impact trauma, please? Yeah,
of course. Thanks for the I mean, for sure, you can find out more about head impact trauma at www.hitrecognition.co.uk or on social media at HIT Limited on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
All of the good platforms, and we will hopefully have a nice graphic our team will put up there now. But Euan, thank you again. Really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for watching. Really, really appreciate it. And if there's a topic you would like us to cover right here on a future episode of Student Enterprise TV, drop it down in the comments or email us tv@acornenterprise.com. That's all for this week. We look forward to seeing you right here next Tuesday.